Hi guys, welcome back to Cinema Suitcase. I am Kevin, this is Logan, and today we're discussing a Christmas-themed episode for the night before Christmas, essentially.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, future Merry Christmas from us, by the way. And
yeah, we're filming this in October, so for us it's Happy Halloween, but for you guys it's Merry Christmas.
By the time it reaches your eyes.
Yeah, it's going to be Christmas. It'll be Christmas Eve, basically.
Oof. And this episode, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, by the way, a Christmas classic. It's not a very, very deep film, but it is a must-watch. At least once in your life, you have to watch.
This is my family's go-to Christmas movie.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Can I ask why?
Okay, well, let's get the stats
let's get stats out the way.
Let's get stats out of the way. When I go into my backstory, I'll talk about it.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, so this movie was directed by Ron Howard, very famous film director.
Mm-hmm.
Screenplay was by Jeffrey Pross and Peter S. Seaman. Like Seaman. Peter S. Seaman.
Yeah, no, I figured.
Original music by James Horner. Cinematography by Donald Peterman. And film editing by Daniel P. Hanley and Mark Hill.
Oh wow! Some simple names. They even kept the crew simple for this film. I'd hate to see the names that worked on Tenet. Goodness, that's gonna be complex.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall I go first? I imagine my backstory is a bit shorter.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay, I've always known about the Grinch as a character, especially from Dr. Seuss stuff. He's very popular. He's one of Dr. Seuss's most well-known characters, apart from Cat in the Hat and Lorax and that sort of stuff. And I remember years ago I once saw How the Grinch Stole Christmas on TV, and I burst out laughing quite a few times. That's the only memory I had, and I was like, well, this is going to be the first year of our podcast. Let's do a Christmas movie that's kind of well-renowned in the community. In terms of Christmas movies, it's up there.
Well,
in popularity.
Well, apparently not. Apparently, this movie is extremely divisive amongst people.
Oh.
Apparently, it's a very 50. I don't know. I only realized this a while. Is that there's a lot of people who do not like this movie at all.
Wow.
It's a very 50-50. It's very divisive. I mean, for me, that wasn't for me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I loved this movie, but apparently amongst film fans, it's very divisive.
Wow. Well, maybe that ties into Cat in the Hat, and Dr. Seuss's works being put into live action.
Yeah.
I mean, they get a lot of heat. A lot of people hate Cat in the Hat as well. I like it, but
I also like it.
I think it's funny, but hardcore fans, I guess, they don't like it at all. They think it's awful iteration.
Awful iteration. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Okay.
Stop making love action adoptions.
I didn't realize that it was. It got heat. I thought it was liked. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, obviously there are people
that like it. Yeah.
There are people who like it, but what I was just meant to say was that it was very. There's also a big group of people who don't like this movie, which is very weird to me.
Oh, well, I guess you like what you like.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal, but. Anyway, after watching it all those years ago, I thought, let's do an episode on this. A nice, what I thought was a nice, well-loved movie.
Yeah.
That would be a nice first ever Christmas edition of Cinema Suitcase.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my backstory, so that's why I recommended it. Of course, Friday is the 24th this year. We get a Christmas Eve movie release.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Hey, sorry, would you like to start yours?
Yeah. So I was obviously I knew about this movie obviously back when it came out, because I remember when I was a kid they were playing ads for it on TV and everything like that, and it looked very good. And then I don't think I went to watch it in cinema. I think I waited until it was on DVD or whatever, but I watched it and it was one of my favorites. it's pretty much become like one of my favorite Christmas movies ever.
Mm.
Like this and Die Hard.
I was gonna say, and Die Hard. You love Die Hard.
Are basically the two
Pinnacles.
of Christmas movies. But yeah, no, my family we all love this movie. I think also the thing is, the reason why we love it is because we love Jim Carrey's performance, but also I think the thing is that because my family, a lot of us, we're very much introverted. We're a bit of an introverted family. Mm-hmm. Like we don't really have we have friends, but we don't have like too many like family friends or any that thing like that. We're very introverted mostly, like my parents and my sister and me and everything. So I think for us, like we really related to the Grinch.
Oh, I see, because he's very introverted.
Because he's very introverted and everything. And like some of the jokes he says are very funny.
Dude, he gets me going. I like his like fourth wall breaking sometimes.
Yeah. And like when he's and like that whole thing when he's trying to decide whether he's gonna go to a social event or not. We was watching. I even said like, yeah, this is me when I'm deciding whether I'm gonna go see my friends or not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When he's like holding back, and then he's like, "Oh, I guess I can't go now," and all this stuff.
He's like, that's it. I am going. That's that. And nothing can stop me. I have my fingers crossed.
He really doesn't want to go.
And then Max drops him through the trapdoor. Then he falls through. He's like, maybe I should flip a coin.
He's just holding back. He really doesn't want to go, but he does. I think he does.
So part of him that does, and part of him that doesn't.
Yeah, he's pretty much a yin and yang type situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I cut your story short.
No, that's fine. But yeah, no. This is pretty much just a very well loved movie with my family, and pretty much almost every Christmas. Okay, well, sometimes not on Christmas Day, but during the December holidays, during that Christmas period, at some point we always watch The Grinch. Because I know the one year it was, I think, Christmas Eve we were at Christmas Eve we were at my dad's house, and we watched The Grinch with him, and then when we went back home to my mom and my grandparents, we watched. My grandpa was really into, rest his soul, he was really into the band Queens. So we watched Bohemian Rhapsody because he really liked Queens back in the day and everything. And that was a good. Even though it's not a Christmas movie technically, that was actually a good movie to watch on Christmas Day.
Yeah, because it's like lighthearted or upbeat rather.
Lighthearted and it does have that whole family. It has that whole family theme in the movie.
True.
But like our band's a family and we all come together and everything like that.
Like High School Musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that you guys liked it so much to watch it as a sort of tradition around that time.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I just love this movie, absolutely.
I don't think us as a family really watch anything traditionally. Like my family, I mean. I know we tend to stick to the theme of Christmas and family and stuff, obviously, around the time, like you guys. But I don't know if there's anything we watch definitively every year.
Well, we don't watch it definitively every year. We don't watch it, because I think there are some years where we don't watch it. But, yeah, we always try to at least watch the Grinch every now and then.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, then I'm not exactly like you guys. Every now and then you watch it. All right, cool. So, the story. Oof, I'm a little bit hazy. How does it open again?
The Grinch, it basically opens with Cindy Lou. Cindy Lou, obviously, there's a whole narration about the Whoville.
Yeah, the history,
the history, and how they're all very much into Christmas and everything like that. It's a busy time of the year, and then Cindy Lou, who's the main girl in this movie, she's busy shopping with her dad, and she's helping her dad with his Christmas because her dad runs the post office. So she's busy helping him with all that and everything. And, everyone's super into it. But Cindy's like, Dad, isn't this just a little bit, drastic? He's like, no, it's not drastic. It's Christmas and everything. And then we cut to Cindy's, older brothers who are, teenagers. And they're busy going up Mount Who where, I think it's Mount Who. Where
isn't it Mount Crumpet?
Oh, Mount Crumpet. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. They're going up Mount Crumpet because they want to go
troll the Who,
troll the Grinch,
troll the Who, the band.
The Grinch is a bit of a myth, and then the two guys, they're making fun of the girls because they're saying you're scared of the Grinch, you're scared of the Grinch. But as soon as they get up to the door, they're shaking.
They're scared of the Grinch.
Yeah. And then they knock on the door, and then suddenly the door bursts open, and this giant head thing comes out and scares them. And they run down the thing, and then we find out that it wasn't the Grinch; it was his dog Max, busy barking into like this giant
thing,
this flute monster thing.
It basically like echoed his voice.
Barking into it, he's just like, well done, Max.
I love Jim Carrey in this film actually.
Jim Carrey is epic in this movie.
Like he's changed a lot as an actor, but his body language is so profound and exaggerated. It really makes the character.
Yeah, me and my dad just always kept saying that Jim Carrey should have won an Oscar for this movie because his performance is just so good.
It's next level, especially because he had to do that whole CIA torture training. Remember I told you that trivia?
Yeah, he had to do the CIA torture training just to withstand sitting in a chair and doing makeup all day.
All day, yeah. That must be mentally grating.
Yeah.
It's very, very... So he deserves some sort of award, hands down.
Definitely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, then he's basically just like, we get introduced to him. He's sort of in his little like man cave type thing. He's going to
definition of a man cave.
Yeah, he's sifting through garbage because all the waste disposal garbage comes up to Mount Crumpet where he is. So he looks at it as like trinkets and treasures and everything. Exactly like gifts. You want to know what happens to your gifts? They all come to me. In your garbage. You see what I'm saying? In your garbage!
I love how he gets so salty about that. He's like, you all smile and happy, but you betray each other behind closed doors.
He's like, I can hang myself with all the gift tars I found in the dump.
Oh, shame. He really kills their vibe, which is his point early on.
Yeah, he does kill their vibe.
Because he really, really hates Christmas. I think it's because of his, like, quote-unquote childhood trauma where he was like bullied and made fun of, ridiculed for being different. Okay, his origin story is a bit weird. Like, we don't really know what he is or where he came from. He just arrived like the other children and he was different.
Yeah, because we find out in the backstory that there's these little like babies in like these little like a
basket parachute
like these
thing.
baby basket parachutes, and they're busy floating down to Mount 2. And then the babies are landing. Then there's this one funny joke where this one baby lands in front of this house, and then this guy comes out, obviously to like take out the milk glasses, and then he sees the baby's like, "Honey, our baby's here," and he looks a lot like your boss.
People would not understand that joke. Sorry, children, not people.
Kids wouldn't understand it, but the adults would just be like, "Oh no!"
I love these sort of movies that sprinkle in adult humor. That's I think why Shrek is such a success.
Yeah,
is that adult humor they sprinkle in between, and then of course the kids it'll fly completely over their head, but the adults will be like, they'll get it.
Yeah, but anyway, and then Grinch, he's like this little like whatever he is, like this little baby.
He's a Grinch.
Grinch baby, and then he floats down and he lands in this tree outside these two old sisters' house, and they're busy having like this like New Year's party, this Christmas party or whatever, and they're busy dropping each other's keys into a bowl, and that's another adult joke where you just go like... I remember my mom laughing at that joke a lot.
At the dropping the keys.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. I love that he eats the plate.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they eventually find him and they bring him in, and then they have like this plate full of cookies, and they say like, it's like the Santa shaped plate, and they say like, "Oh, which cookie would you like?" He's like, "Santa." He's like, "Oh, his favorite first word." They give him the plate, and then like it's like takes a bite out of Santa's head. He's like, he's busy eating the glass. Like, "Santa, bye."
Yeah, he's a creepy baby, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
There was a bit that made me laugh. Oh, it's later in the film when he's down there to accept his cheer award. What's that award called? Like
the Cheermeister.
Cheermeister. Oh yeah, that's right. Because they always put the cheer in the chair, something like that. Cheermeister. Anyway, I love that when the sisters or whatever they are that saved him or took him in as a youngster, and he's like, "Are you still alive?"
Yeah, it's like so funny. Like, because he when he was a kid, he was bullied by a kid who in the present day becomes the mayor. He's the mayor of Whoville. He's like a complete asshole, And anyway, then when the Grinch comes down, obviously he's going to use this opportunity to make fun of the Grinch as much as possible. And then like the first thing he does is sort of like mess with the Grinch. He says like but first a little family reunion, and they miss you, and then they're busy coming, and then they're busy saying like, oh, we missed you, and then the Grinch just like, are you two still living? That's so funny.
Oh, I love that. That is so dark.
He says it with such a serious voice.
He's really not in the mood for them.
Yeah, he's just like, oh.
I think also the reason that Mayer wants to make fun of the Grinch is he wants to like reiterate that whole idea that the Grinch is like this bad guy that hates Christmas and he hates family and people and all that stuff.
Yeah, basically, because Cindy Lou, she keeps saying like, why does she keeps asking everyone, why does the Grinch hate Christmas, and nobody really wants to answer her. And then she says, and that's actually how we get the origin of the Grinch, is that she goes around, does like research, she like goes and interviews people. She interviews the Grinch's, like his two moms. She interviews the mayor, and then she interviews what's that woman's name?
I'm not sure what her name is. That other lady. That,
Martha May.
Yeah. We made fun like, oh no, her name's Martha.
God, don't say Martha.
Batman will come in with his.
Why'd you say that name? Yeah, played by Leonard's mom, which is very funny.
And she has like a huge crush on Grinch back in the day already, and now, but we'll get there later.
Yeah, basically, she's one of the people that the Grinch that Cindy interviews and everything, and pretty good movie. Then, but sort of getting back to the story, so Grinch is basically like, okay, how can I mess with Christmas? How can I kind of ruin it? Because he's slowly trying to figure out ways of like, how can I like sort of break the Christmas spirits?
Yeah,
how can I get rid of this? Because the problem is they make loud noise and everything, and then he's like sitting there in bed trying to sleep. It's just like, oh my gosh, he just can't stop hearing the Christmas chants.
Yeah, he's sick of their giddy happiness, and I think he's obviously probably a bit jealous of their like family vibe, being together and just celebrating something.
Yeah, because all the Grinch has for family is his dog Max.
That dog is so well trained as a like not in terms of the movie, but I mean to like act in the movie basically. He's very well trained as a dog.
Very well trained.
Must have taken a lot of time.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Grinch basically he decides he's going to go down, cause some chaos. So he goes down. He's wearing like this rug thing. He's wearing like this like a smiley mask, which kind of reminded me of the V for Vendetta mask.
It did. Yeah. No, that it gave me Wallace vibes from Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, I did. Wallace and Gromit. Yeah.
He goes and he causes a bit of havoc. Basically, just a bit of a spanner in the works. He's taking things apart and breaking things and
breaking things and all
typical like vandalism, basically.
Yeah, he's just doing some like basic vandalism, like kids stuff. And then he goes to the post office. He's busy like and like his idea of like messing with Christmas is like or mixing around the different parcels and gifts and everything. And there's that bit where like Cindy she's in the front with her dad, and then her dad says like, just take this to the back for me. And then the Grinch is in the back because he's mixing. He's like, it'll take them years to sort this out. And he's like mixing everything. And then like he takes those letters. He's like, jury duty, blackmail. So he's like flipping the envelopes.
Apparently, people hate jury duty.
Yeah, jury duty is terrible.
It is basically coming in to serve as a jury, right? As a member of a jury.
Yeah, jury. Because when you get in America, when you get the jury duty letter, it's not optional.
I know.
You're doing jury duty, and nobody wants to do it because the thing is, then they got to spend 6 weeks or however long the court case goes on for. They have to spend all that time away from their family. They're not allowed to see anybody. They got to sleep probably in a cheap motel or whatever. There's actually a comedy from the 90s that I watched as a kid called Jury Duty. And it's about this one guy's like a con man, and then he gets he gets brought into he gets conscripted into jury duty, but the rent is due and he doesn't have the money to pay back his owes. So he goes along with the jury so that he'll get 6 months of
like a free stay and stuff like that.
Basically free stay and stuff, and he tries all his best to keep the case going as well as possible. I actually want to do it one day. It's actually a very good movie.
All right, add it to the list. That sounds like a lot of fun.
But yeah, that's basically how I found out about jury duty. Oh yeah, that, and I also want to do 12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men. I know that name.
It's this old black and white movie from it was from 1959 if I'm 1959, 1958, right about there.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. It's one of the best movies ever made. It's such a good drama. It's basically like this drama, but the whole movie basically takes place in one room, because the whole movie takes place in the juror's room, and they're basically just discussing about whether they're going to send this kid, the kid who basically is convicted, whether they're going to send him to the electric chair or not. And it's so good. We definitely need to do it.
Definitely have to watch that then.
Yeah.
That sounds impressive. For one location.
Yeah,
wow.
and I think you'll be very impressed by the cinematography.
I know, I want to check it now. Good. You've got me hyped.
Yeah.
Is that our next Christmas movie?
Okay, well, not a Christmas movie, but definitely a movie on the wish
on the list.
List.
We can do it next year then.
Yeah, definitely.
Seeing as we have a lineup for you guys.
Lineup. Basically, he has his first encounter with
Cindy,
and then there's that funny bit where she walks in, and then he's I
love that pose he does.
He does that pose in the corner that I said to you, he did it before Batman did it in BBS.
He did. He beat Batman to it.
Yeah,
and he tries to scare Cindy and make her believe he's this threat or some sort of,
but she never takes him seriously,
evil incarnate, and she just thinks he's funny and really odd.
She thinks he's funny and quirky and everything, and then there's a bit where she falls into the machine, and then he saves her life, and he's wants to leave, and then she's thank you for saving me, and then he stops by the door with that funny sound face, saving you.
That Michael Myers stop in the car.
Yeah, is that what you think I was doing? And then he wraps her up in that present thing. That was very funny.
You saved me. When he stops, he's like, no, I can't have this little girl perceive me as a good person.
Exactly.
He is a good person, obviously, but he tries so hard to be bad.
He tries so hard to be bad, but he's not bad at all.
No, he's not. And that's when she gets a real liking towards Grinch. She's always heard about him, but now that she's met him, she's like, no, he's cool. He probably just wants someone to chill with.
Yeah.
So she ends up inviting him later to the Cheer Fest, which is, I think, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I think it's the night before.
Yeah, but then, first thing what she does, before she does that, she goes and does research, like I mentioned earlier. She's interviewing the mayor. She's interviewing Martha May. Martha May is basically Mrs. Who, basically, Miss America, whatever. She's a model, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's currently dating the mayor, whatever. And then they're busy interviewing, and then they find out, and then we get the bits of Grinch in school and everything. And then Martha May's says I barely ever noticed him because I was too busy focusing on my studies, and then flashes back and she's checking him out.
She's staring at him.
Yeah,
I love that flashback scene with you're 8 years old and you have a beard. That scene got me so hard.
Yeah, because the mayor as a kid, he obviously liked Martha May as well. So he's obviously picking on the Grinch because the Grinch is trying to put him down. He's like, you don't have a chance with her. You're 8 years old and you have a beard.
Remember I said to you, you say that like it's a bad thing.
It's a compliment.
That would be such a flex if you were 8 and you had a beard. Remember that episode of Dexter's Laboratory when he gets a beard? Yeah.
I remember that. I have that distinct image in my head of him. He has his beard. He's busy walking
that
down
swag walk.
Walking down the sidewalk. He's got that swag walk.
Yep, that's the exact same image I had in my head. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but obviously, they're kids, and obviously they don't know better.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously, she sort of convinces him to sort of kind of like Christmas. So, and he obviously and the Grinch obviously he does like Martha. So he decides to build this really intricate and very nice Christmas ornament that she can put on her tree and everything like that.
That thing is well done.
It is very well
wow,
made.
he should be an engineer.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a whole montage of him busy building it and everything, which is pretty fun. And then when he when he's looking in the mirror, he's like he remembers that whole beard comment, and then he takes a razor and he shaves. And then when he comes back to class the next day, he has a bag over his head. He's trying to hide himself, but the teacher keeps saying take off the mask, and he takes it off. He's like, and lower the book, and then he lowers the book, and his foot's on the thing covering his face, and your foot, and then he moves that. And then obviously he's got because obviously he's a kid, so obviously he doesn't know how to shave properly, so he's got blisters and bandages and everything on his face, and everyone's laughing at him, and then that's kind of what gets him to sort of be outcast from the town, but also to say I hate Christmas.
Yeah, because he just wanted to do something nice for her, that has a bit of sentimental and personal value, not just buying something. He made something.
Exactly.
And then of course, high school bully decides to ruin his whole vibe, and that's what pretty much sets him down the wrong path of being isolated.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's kind of a villain for the story, but he's not really a villain.
Well,
he's just different.
I think it's similar to our what you said about our Hancock episode, where the mayor is kind of like a minor antagonist in the movie. He is he is the quote unquote villain of the movie. But it's sort of similar to Hancock, where the Grinch is kind of almost his own villain.
Yeah, he can't really decide whether to continue being a bad guy or going with what he actually feels and being amongst people.
Yeah, exactly. But then we get that very funny bit where after obviously all the bits, there's that really cool transition where we obviously see the flashback. We see in the past him as a kid climbing up to the mountain, and then it does that cool cross dissolve to him as an adult, and obviously the cave's built up and he's got his door and everything like that. And he's there with the phone book, and then he's just and the narrator says he's saying every. He wants to tell every single who how much he hated them. He's like alphabetically. And he goes to the phone book. He's like, and he says the name. He's like, I hate you.
He shouts it.
And then he's like, hate, double hate, loathe entirely.
It's his exaggerated body language that makes me laugh, dude.
Yeah.
He's the perfect actor to encapsulate exaggerated body movement. Jim Carrey is next level. Body movement.
And also, like I said, he's just a perfect character for introverts, because my family, we just laughed at this joke, because the thing is that's not exaggerated. You go through your phone book and there's so many people you don't want to hang out with, but they keep showing up.
You just keep calling hey, what are you doing tomorrow night?
Yeah. Or if you're at work and there's a bunch of people that always talking to you but you don't like them, and then you're just loathe entirely.
Loathe the way he does the
with his hands.
I love that they kept that detail of the fur on his fingers.
Because
that long fur.
Yeah, because he's got the fingers, and then obviously there's that fur stretching out of his fingers.
I like that they kept that, because that must have been very irritating to act with that stuff. So shout out.
Very, very good thing, but very good.
Anyway, after that montage of her interviewing people and a bit of Grinch's backstory, she ends up inviting him, as I said, to that Christmas Eve festival where they come together and they pass out gifts and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because there's that Christmas Eve festival, and they they annually they vote for who's going to be the cheermaster, who's going to be the sort of the figure of the event,
the host.
And then nobody wants to nominate anybody, and the mayor's trying to sort of get everybody to nominate him, basically. But then Cindy Lou's like, nominate the Grinch. And then he's trying to come up with ways why the Grinch can't be nominated. But he's going in the Book of Who and saying, the Grinch cannot be, it can never be voted as the cheermaster. He's like, where's that? It's in this chapter. Oh, it's not.
Oh, I lost my page, but it's in here. Anyway, she shuts him down with the facts, and she decides to go on her own accord to invite him.
Yeah.
I love that whole montage where he tries to be hardcore, but she's just like, you're really odd.
Because and then while she's busy traveling up to him, he can't sleep obviously because of all the Christmas charms. So he's like trying to make as much loud noise as possible just so they would block the Christmas cheering. And then like when she walks in, he's got like this big monkey thing that's like got those two
symbol things.
Those symbol things. It's like slamming it into his head, and then like when she says "excuse me," he's like "hmm," and then like he puts his hands and then like he crushes the bear. The bear like shuts down, and then like he turns around. He's like, "Hello, little girl. How dare you enter the Grinch's lair?"
He gives his whole monologue speech.
Yeah, he's like trying his best to scare her, and then she's just like laughing. She just thinks it's very funny.
We cut off when Cindy meets Grinch at his house.
When she's in the Grinch's lair. Anyway, he's trying to scare her. She's like, not having any of it. She's just laughing at everything he's doing. And there's that great fourth wall breaking moment where like he turns and looks at the camera at us, the audience. He's like, kids today so desensitized by movies and television.
And she's so not spooked at all.
Yeah, he's just like, what do you want?
I love that when he comes back to reality. What do you want? And she's still there, like smiling at him. Yeah. She's not getting to him at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's not getting to her at all.
Yeah. Anyway, and she then says, Mr. Grinch, I formally invite you to be this year's cheermaster. And like he looks at the invitation, she's like, cheermaster, celebrate with friends. Anyway, then he's like busy walking off trying to get rid of her, and she's like, just won't shut up. She just keeps following him. And then he keeps saying no, and he's not interested or whatever. And then she eventually says like, but you're gonna miss the reward. He's like, a reward? You didn't say anything about a reward. And it's like, and then she's like telling him all the gossip, like, oh, the mayor wasn't happy, and he's just like, oh, he obviously thought that was very funny.
Of course he did.
And then he sort of like fakes it with her. He's like, yes, I'll totally come down to the cheermaster thing. Who knows? This might change my entire outlook on life. And he's like, really? He's like, no. Like he just drops her down the trapdoor.
Which leads back to town.
Yeah.
I want to try that slide. The only thing I don't understand is how he makes it gravity defying so that he can go uphill. I know it's just for the purpose of the story, but it's funny to me.
Yeah. They go both up and downhill.
Yeah. He has like some reverse tractor beam. He just flicks a switch.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how he embraces that as transport as well. It's literally just a chute for all their rubbish, but he gladly jumps into it from either side.
Well, because Kevin, it's his fast travel point.
Oh yeah, it's true. He put down a checkpoint or a waypoint, and
he put down a waypoint, and now he needs to fast travel. He needs to fast travel back to town, and sell all his loot and like get some health potions.
Oh shit.
But yeah. So anyway, so then we get that whole funny montage of the Grinch trying to because he says, okay, if I'm going down there, I need something to wear.
He has that whole like monologue basically. He's talking to Max, but it's essentially a monologue.
Yeah, there's a funny bit where like he goes to the table to go get the blanket because he wants to wrap it around like a towel, and then like he does that trick where like he pulls the blanket off, but all of like the
cutlery and stuff
that's on the table is like still there. He walks away and he comes back. He like knocks everything over and like smashes everything walking away. And then he puts it on and then he comes up to the mirror. He's got like this towel around his hips and then Max is like barks. He's like it's not a dress, it's a kilt.
We get so salty. It's not a dress. It's I think he says it's not a skirt. It's a kilt.
Exactly.
I love how when he after that montage he grabs that like.
That
yodeling guy.
And steals his outfit.
Yeah, and then he does all these poses like he's really feeling it, and then he's like, that's it, I'm not going. Yeah. And then I was like, what's the point of all that posing?
Yeah, he does all the poses, he's like, ooh, He's like, that's it, I'm not going.
That's it, I'm not going.
Oh, exactly.
What outfit does he wear? I can't remember. He doesn't.
It's like that yodeling overalls top, like very Swedish top outfit.
Yeah. But I mean, to the actual event, when he ends up going anyway, Max sends him down the chute.
Yeah, I remember he wears the yodeling outfit, and then they put that. And then when he gets,
they put
that Christmas shirt on.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to remember. I was like, he didn't have that yodeling thing on the whole time. He had it underneath, but he had something else on. I didn't realize that they put it on. Right?
And then he also has that Christmas hat thing on his head. Not the Santa hat, the tree. What's that hat thing called? It's like green hat thing with that's made up of like the Christmas lights and everything.
Oh yeah, laurel. Sorry, not a laurel. Jesus.
It's like that crown thing.
A wreath.
Yeah, a wreath. Yeah, he's got that wreath on his head. Anyway, eventually Max forces him to go down, so he goes down. And then when he first lands, because he comes firing out of the chute, and he fires or he bounces around the town, and then eventually he falls right on top of Martha, in between her, and then he's like, hello Martha.
I love how she pretends she doesn't. She always tells people she's not interested, but she's always fascinated by him and staring at him. Yeah. She's so thirsty.
Remember, man, he's a bad boy.
True. She has to fix him.
He's like the ultimate bad boy of the town, so that's obviously why she likes him.
True, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so he says, and I love that bit where he's staring out the crowd, they're all silent and everything, and he's like, he's like, I've come for an award of some sort.
He's so not interested.
Apparently I'm supposed to get an award of some sort. We love that.
Evie brushes it off.
Yeah, that's another moment that my family love, when he's like, award of some sort.
An award of some sort.
Anyway, and then obviously the mayor uses this to make fun of him. Then that's where the joke of the two, his two mothers coming to him, and he's like, are you two still living and everything? But anyway, we get a montage of him basically being the cheermaster and playing all these Christmas games with them.
Oh, I don't like that scene.
Yeah, that scene's kind of weird, especially when they're shoving all the fudge in his face. And just going,
yeah, when they force feeding you, I'm like, ugh. God,
I always look away, but it is funny though. Especially when they shove, because after a while he's just guys, come on, really, I can't take it anymore.
And he's got this huge boop.
And then they start feeding him fudge. He's like, is that all you got? Is that all you got?
He's daring them. Yeah, I don't like that scene. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's very weird.
But anyway, he starts to sort of embrace Christmas, and then there's that bit where they're busy doing the chunga. What's that dance?
You mean the conga line?
Yeah, the conga. They're doing the conga line, and then he's in the front. He's like, really, guys, I really shouldn't be going. And then he's like, all right, fine. And he starts dancing with them, and then anyway, and then when it finally gets to the time of him getting a reward, it's this gift passing. So they give him a gift, and then the mayor obviously slipped this gift in, obviously to just mess with the Grinch, and basically what he did was he gave him a razor, like a shaving razor, and that's kind of what sets the Grinch.
That's an insult.
Yeah, it's an insult, and obviously gets the Grinch very angry, and then he proposes to Martha in front of the Grinch, and then that's obviously when the Grinch is just like oh hell no. That's when he kind of goes back into beast mode.
Beast mode.
Well, for the Grinch, technically it's beast mode, but for him it's just grumpy old man mode.
Get off my lawn!
And then he has this whole rant in front of the town about Christmas, about he's like, that's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about. And he has the whole thing of you know what happens to your gifts? They come to me in your garbage. In your garbage.
Yeah, that says a lot without saying much. That just shows the backstabbing these people do sometimes.
Anyway, and then chaos ensues, and then like we said, the Grinch has got 3 stars at that point because he's causing chaos. He's blowing up the tree and doing all this mayhem and everything.
I like when he jacks that small car. Yeah, that explosion it makes is massive.
My favorite joke in that whole sequence is the bit where everyone's running away in fear, and then he stops by the thing, and then the taxi driver, so he's like, taxi, and then it goes right past him, and he's like, it's because I'm green, isn't it?
Yeah. I love that scene as well. I forgot about it entirely, but I was like, I bet you this, when it was playing, I was like, I bet you this taxi will leave him. And it did. And he's like, it's because I'm green. He made that joke. And I was like, oh, nice. Some more adult humor there.
Just some fun adult humor, and it's just like that really fun, dry humor.
It is.
It's just so funny.
For sure. Anyway, he goes back home. Town is basically on fire, although they have a spare tree.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't know where they keep it, but they have a spare tree. And they pretty much go on, like life goes on without him.
Yeah.
They go back to their routine. They're like, yeah, okay, we always thought he was kind of an ass, and he proved he was, so they just go back to normal life, I guess. But he's obviously hurt.
And it's very funny when he's about to go through the trash chute and he sees they have a spare tree, and he's just like, oh, they're relentless.
Yeah, dude, his own like one-liners, they kill me in this movie.
I think for Jim Carrey, my two favorite roles from him ever is number one, The Grinch, and the other, well, obviously Ace Ventura and The Grinch. Those are like the top two best roles he's ever done.
For you.
For me, definitely.
I get you. Yeah, he's... Oh, it's an Audi dog. I heard a noise, sorry. He is that sort of character. He can fit into these kind of explosive roles. He just is that person. Or he was. After the town is essentially destroyed and rebuilt within like 5 minutes, that's when he pretty much comes up with that plan to ruin everyone's Christmas as they ruined his.
Yeah, there's that funny bit where like he comes back home, and then like he walks in the door, then there's like music playing, he's like going like, what the hell's going on? And then Max is busy like doing his dog dance. And then like he throws Max he throws Max out the thing, and then Max falls as a snow pile, but he pulls Max out to give him a lecture. He like sees the snow around Max's face, and he's like, that's when he gets the idea, like, oh, I can steal Christmas by pretending to be Santa, and
then siphoning all their gifts. I love how he sets up and he watches with the binoculars, and then he sees Santa's sleigh, and he's like, the fat man will be done soon. Something like that. He just insulted him so much.
Yeah.
And also Santa is loud as hell. How does no one wake up? I suppose he's loud in every iteration, but I'm like, you people,
magic, man.
You know he's there. Yeah, it could be magic.
Magic.
I love his makeshift sleigh with like the flamethrower exhausts, and that thing is so horrible.
And that bit where like he needs a reindeer, so he gets Max to be a reindeer, like ties a reindeer horn on his head, and he puts like a red nose on him, and then there's that bit where he's got the director's hat. He's like, okay, here's your motivation. You hate Christmas, you want to steal Christmas and everything. He gives him this whole pitch and everything, and then like he sits in the chair and he says, action! And then Max just like knocks the nose off. The nose off, and he's like, brilliant! You reject your own nose because that represents the rejection of commercialism. Why did I think of that? That's every pretentious director in Hollywood. That's them.
Yeah, he just goes off on his own spiel.
Yeah.
So he has this like a montage where he starts stealing everyone's presents.
Yeah.
With that vacuum pipe that like sucks up the cat and the tree.
And then there's at least a couple of gags where the cat keeps jumping on his face and he keeps like freaking out like it's a face hugger.
That's what I said. I'm like, this cat's a face hugger. It's a recurring character.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think he actually stops at Cindy's house first, but she doesn't really stop him from doing his plan anyway.
Yeah, because he pretends to be Santa, basically.
Through the tree. And he's like, what's the point of Christmas? Vengeance!
Yeah, his face bursts through the tree. He's like, vengeance! Like he's Batman.
I love that scene. He just gave it all away. But she shows off more of her character, that she still likes him. So that she basically asks Santa to not forget about the Grinch, to give him a gift of some kind.
Because she thinks he's sweet. He's like, sweet!
Yeah, I get so salty. And, but that doesn't stop him from doing his evil scheme. So he siphons the whole town's presents into this big bag. You know, that overly large, stereotypical bag.
Yeah, and he takes it back up to
Mount Crumpet.
Mount Crumpet. And,
he's basically going to push it over the edge and destroy all their presents. Because I think at that point he thinks that Christmas is all about the presents and like materialism, getting stuff.
If he takes all the presents away, then the town will be sad and everything.
And quiet.
And the town comes out. They're obviously sad at the beginning, and then the mayor obviously, cucks out Cindy and everything because he's been cucking Cindy out throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where the dad actually steps up and actually defends her and says that, and he says that Cindy's right, that Christmas, it is not about the gifts or anything. It's about family and about coming together and everything like that. Mm-hmm. That is a very sweet moment.
Yeah, that's essentially what Christmas is always about, isn't it? It's always the central theme of these Christmas-related movies, where it's not about the presents; it's about being with your family and
coming together,
and coming together, and just valuing that time.
Yeah,
it's always the theme of a Christmas movie. The presents are like the icing on top, but that's not the point.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm glad that theme has been consistent.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent. So they start seeing it in that's when the Grinch kind of has his realization of that it's not just about giving gifts away. And that's kind of when he has his turn.
Yeah, he's starting to come full circle almost.
Yeah, and the bag and this on the sleighs because he tries slipping over the edge, so he's trying to pull it back up, but then Cindy loses on the top because she wanted to she didn't want the Grinch to be alone on Christmas and everything. So he saves her, and then basically that's towards the end of the movie when they basically the Grinch basically saves Christmas. He brings the sleigh back down, gives everyone back all their presents, and he's accepted finally.
Accepted, and also she gets the girl. She leaves the mayor because at this point he's a dick.
He's a douche.
Yeah, he's a real douche, a real Brad.
Yeah.
So a Chad rather, not Brad. So he's left in the dust. That's kind of his it's basically his defeat, which is obviously very family friendly.
Yeah.
He's basically just he loses the honey.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the movie ends. There's not a lot of depth to this movie, but I appreciate the approach they did.
Yeah.
They used Dr. Seuss's writing for the narration, but they also gave the Grinch his own personality.
Yeah.
Even with the adult humor, that's really what does it for me.
Jim Carrey just got absorbed in this role.
He was really
good.
did.
He was really good as the Grinch.
Yeah, I suppose with all that makeup, he was like, no, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it right.
Exactly.
And he really did.
Yeah.
So it's just a good film. Do you have any sort of shots you liked? I don't really have any, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't really have any shots I like. I mean, the thing is, this is just a movie where you kind of just want to laugh and just have fun.
Yeah, of course.
It's not really the movie where you analyze the shots or anything like that. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the cinematography.
No, not at all.
It's just one of those movies where you just kind of get absorbed in the movie and you don't really.
It's not. Yeah, the cinematography doesn't aid the progression at all. I do notice though they use a lot of Dutch tilts in this film.
Yeah, they do
a lot, but they're used in an interesting way because they don't convey discomfort. They convey wacky because it's his whole lair is wonky and obscure and it just makes you think, wow, this guy's really a bit loose. Yeah. That's the only thing I wanted to note. But other than that, I don't really have any incredible mind blowing shots. It's not that type of film.
Exactly.
Takeaway, if you have.
Takeaway, just really good, just a really fun Christmas movie. It helps me appreciate dry humor as well. Because this is my type of humor. This is the type of humor that I laugh at. Because I don't like the whole some of the humor where it's all farts and all that stuff. I'm just no. Or crass humor where it's all sex jokes and everything. I'm not really into that type of humor.
No, me neither.
And the problem is a lot of modern movies these days use that type of humor, and I don't like it.
Yeah, well, sex sells, so
yeah.
I guess it has mainstream appeal, especially if you're 13 and you play Fortnite 18 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not my cup of tea. It's not yours.
Have you? Tell me, did you watch the recent animated Grinch movie they did a year or two ago?
I wanted to, but I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Do you like it?
I think it's okay. It's an okay Grinch movie. It obviously gets the theme of everything, the theme of Christmas and the theme of the Grinch's story and everything like that. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't beat this one.
No, I'm sure. That's the thing. When I saw it as well, I was also like, this will probably be very watered down and family friendly.
Yeah. The only thing I remember about that movie actually is that one point, Max and the Grinch meet this big moose character, and the moose is kind of like this like dumb guy, but he's like obviously he can't talk, but it's like kind of like that dumb like pet or whatever, and it was very funny. And there's like this one bit where like the moose is like following them, and then the Grinch says like, go away. Then the moose just goes and hides behind like this very thin tree, but you can see it. You can still see it. Like that was very cute. But other than that, like nah. I don't really think. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch voices the Grinch, and I mean he does an okay job. But like I don't know, the thing is like to me that's kind of just like like the typecasting.
Yeah.
Like Benedict Cumberbatch voiced Dragon, so he's clearly the grumpy guy. So let's get him to voice the Grinch. And I'm kind of just like but like Jim Carrey got absorbed in the role. He like really
became the Grinch.
He really brought his A game with it, and Grinch is just and with Benedict Cumberbatch it wasn't really. Well, I think the thing about Benedict Cumberbatch, he's better as a live action, as a actual. He's better in a live action movie when he can actually perform properly. But when he's just voicing characters, it's not really. It's not really
that impactful.
It's not. Yeah. It's not his strength. That's what I'll say. It's not his strength.
Yeah, like in Imitation Game.
Imitation Game is very good.
He's a very good actor there. And then, of course, like Doctor Strange, everyone would know at this point. But he's in other films too, and Imitation Game is one of his standouts for me.
Yeah, Imitation Game is awesome.
It's very good.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's just... that's what I thought of when you said it's not really his strength, just doing voices. He's very good.
Yeah,
like,
he's got a cool voice. I will admit he's got a great voice, and he's obviously good at voicing Smaug the Dragon or whatever. But I don't think I just don't think voice acting is his main thing. I think he should. When he's actually like in front of a camera and he's actually performing properly, then that's when he's at his A game.
No, I'll agree with you there. What's before we do final ratings? I'd like your opinion on the Grinch's design, because he looks very like not animalistic, but he almost looks like a drug user sometimes. He looks very twisted and insane and. To remember, we made that joke. He's Pennywise's little brother, his cousin.
I quite like the design. I think the design's pretty cool. I think it's a cool design. It obviously stays true to how the Grinch looks like in the book. Because obviously, Dr. Seuss's characters, his characters are like how he drew them, how he drew his characters. They were very like exaggerated. They had these very like cartoony looking faces that they looked very weird. They looked very like abnormal. So obviously I think the designs are pretty good. And even like with the people in Whoville, like they've got like that Pacific shape of their face. Their faces all have that Pacific shape, and they have those very
small noses
and that type of thing. Like the makeup work in this movie is very good.
It is very good. Definitely. Makeup and production design are always underrated.
Yeah.
When people talk about movies, I think. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that what they did with their makeup was ingenious. Like, the Who's, of course, they're well done, but Grinch specifically, he deserves a shout-out.
Exactly.
Like, the only thing is his eyes get to me sometimes, because they're all, like, bloodshot and red sometimes.
They're, like, bloodshot and red and yellow, and look like candy.
Yeah, they can be, like, really spooky sometimes. But other than that, I don't have an issue with them.
Yeah.
At all. I was curious on if I was the only one that was very shocked by his eye design, or if it was just me.
But yeah, I don't know. I think they did a good job of translating them. It's sort of similar to the Cat in the Hat movie, where they got
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers in the Cat in the Hat suit. It was kind of a similar like wacky type.
Yeah, I had the same feel.
Yeah,
like in terms of approach to the film, they seem very similar. I definitely got Cat in the Hat vibes from Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say beyond that. Takeaway would just be the usual Christmas theme of family, not materialism. That's a pretty nice, heartwarming thing. And then, of course, the sprinkling of adult humor. Like, if you can... If that is suited to the story and you can get away with it, where it doesn't seem shoehorned, do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Rating?
Rating? 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You love Grinch.
Yeah, this is a perfect movie for me. To me, this is the definitive Grinch story.
Fair enough. I would give it a 9. I really like it. Definitely love it. I don't really subtract for any particular reason, but 10 out of 10 is what I usually give for like mind-bending, awesome movies.
Yeah, but you also gotta put, when you're doing your ratings, you also gotta put your own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I was saying. That's why sometimes you'll give a movie a 9, And then when they say, well, why did you subtract a point? It's like, yeah, but it's also just my overall enjoyment.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not something that blew my mind. That's reserved for 10 out of 10 exclusively.
Yeah, exactly.
But 9 out of 10, definitely.
All right, cool. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. we hope you're all, having a great time with your family and you're all together. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Once again.
In October.
Yeah, in October. Yeah, the Christmas is always my favorite time of the year, so it's going to be great when this episode's finally uploaded and I can watch it as well, along with you guys. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. But yeah.
Thanks, guys.